What up, Salvador Braver here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about how to raise money when it comes to Kickstarter, Indiegogo, how to get funding for your project, how to get funding for your business, and how to get your product out there to the world. So really, my goal at the end of the day is to help you reach your full potential. And the way we do that is by getting something new out there into the world, whether that's a board game, whether that's a card game, whether that's a physical product, a gadget, or a gizmo, something that's a design product, getting that out there so that other people can get their hands on it. That's what we try to do with this YouTube channel. And today specifically, I'm getting into some of the crowdfunding secrets. We're gonna pull back the curtain and share with you some of these crowdfunding secrets to help you raise more money when it comes to your campaign, and we're getting into it right now. Hey, welcome back. Again, my name is Salvador, and if you're a regular viewer here, thank you so much. I really appreciate you tuning in and seeing these different videos. Hopefully it's also progressing you slowly towards your goal of actually launching a new campaign. If you're a new person here when it comes to this channel, make sure you like this, make sure you subscribe, make sure you become a part of the crowdfunding community here when it comes to CrowdCrux and when it comes to my Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. Go and check out as well my podcast with real world interviews with people that are raising money every single day when it comes to crowdfunding, and we publish those on a weekly basis. So that being said, let's get into some of these secrets. So that way you can actually smash through your goal. You could raise a heck of a lot more money when it comes to your campaign, and you understand what the pros are doing behind the scenes when it comes to raising money effectively with a Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or crowdfunding campaign. Let's talk about that. What is secret number one? Secret number one is to understand why people back these crowdfunding campaigns, man, because it is so different, right? When you're talking about Amazon, you're talking about pre-ordering something, you're talking about buying something online, it's a very different experience than actually backing a crowdfunding campaign. Because you think about it, you're backing a crowdfunding campaign, you're not gonna get that product for a long time. It could be in some cases 3 months, it could be 6 months. I've had students who haven't delivered their campaign for a year, right? And they're extremely well-intentioned, but they just hit supply chain issues, right? So it's a very different experience when it comes to backing a crowdfunding campaign versus pre-ordering or buying something on Amazon, Shopify, etc. So you wanna understand, why do people back crowdfunding campaigns? Think about that. Have you ever actually gone on Kickstarter or Indiegogo and actually backed a couple of campaigns and just seen what the experience is like? See what gets you excited. Understand the communications that other creators are doing. If you haven't yet, that is an incredible exercise to do. So I do talk a lot about this in my free course where I go through step by step how to actually launch a Kickstarter campaign, some of the techniques, tips, etc., which I will link up down below. My CrowdCrux course is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. You can go there and can join that. It's a free course that I go through walking through all of this. But to kind of give you the skinny, give you a bit of an idea of how this works, I'm gonna include a chart here, which I actually did a survey when it comes to my forum, kickstarterforum.org. We have a bunch of creators and backers and stuff, and people talking there all the single time, right? I did a survey there of why people actually back crowdfunding campaigns, and you can see some of those results. When it comes to those results, some people wanna actually help the creator, some people actually want the product, some people wanna participate in the story, some people actually just wanna kind of be a part of a community, right? So there's so many different reasons, but the more you can understand why people be a member of your community, be a pre-order of your products, right? Understand why they would want to support you as a creator, the more you can actually tailor and create a marketing strategy, which is one of the first things that I have my coaching students do. You need to create a marketing strategy of some kind, and ideally also a product document, kind of explaining like things like related to the functionality of the product, the benefits, what are things when it comes to actually what this product is made of, what it can do, right, etc. Really trying to create some material which you can then begin to work with and understand and refine over time. That's going to help you a heck of a lot. Number two is to make sure that you have a media strategy of some kind. And why is this a secret? This is a secret because when you're doing a campaign, when you're launching something into the world, this is an incredible opportunity for you to go out there and to really kind of shout from the rooftops and have so many different bloggers, influencers, publications be talking about you as well. This is an event. This is a media event. And if you want to create a media firestorm around this, a lot of creators have done this extremely successfully, and even going so far as to partner with influencers, which I'm talking about actually an influencer in particularly one of the podcast episodes I did where Nomadic actually partnered with Peter McKinnon, which is an incredible YouTuber, right? So there's a lot of ways in which you can influence the media when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign. There are a lot of ways in which you can incorporate other people into launching this project, whether that's influencers, affiliates, etc. But the more you can actually use the media to your advantage, all of a sudden you're not just a person who's kind of pushing out messages. You have a bunch of other publications, you have a bunch of other influencers who are also pushing out that same message. I don't know what you use the word propaganda, right? I don't know if I want to use that word, but it's very similar to that. We're having a lot of other people that are sharing a message on your behalf, which can be incredibly powerful and almost like magnifies. It almost is a magnification of your voice when you have other bloggers, talking about your product. It increases your credibility, etc. You can put those media logos on your campaign, so make sure you use the media. The next secret to raise more is to fundamentally understand and decode the actual Kickstarter or the Indiegogo algorithm. And this obviously could also apply to GoFundMe or those other platforms that are out there, right? You need to understand and decode the algorithm. The more that you can do that, the more that you can have the platform work to you in your advantage, which is incredible, which is exciting, right? Because if you have the platform working in your advantage, then all of a sudden you can actually use the marketplace dynamics and you can get seen by so many more people. If you don't have an awareness, for example, of how the Facebook algorithm works, you don't know how the Instagram algorithm works, you don't know how the Amazon algorithm works, you don't know how the Kickstarter Indiegogo algorithm works, it's very hard for you to trend better because you can't actually decode that, understand the variables that go into that, and then kind of make it so that when you launch, you're hitting a lot of the check marks that you need to in order to rank well with the algorithm. So I would say the next big secret is making sure that you, number one, understand that you get into decoding that, and also what is your marketing strategy to actually trigger that algorithm, right? And when it comes to that as well, I have other great videos out there decoding this. I talk about this a lot in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, which it is a formula that I've broken down, right? So there's a lot of information out there when it comes to that I put out, as well as on my podcast, the things that people do in order to trigger that algorithm immediately and to get funding in the first couple of days when it comes to their campaign. So make sure you dive in and really just kind of sink your teeth into the podcast interviews. Make sure you're like a sponge, you're absorbing all that information. For those of you that are voracious readers and you love to upgrade yourself, you love to train, you love to self-improve, right? You really want to make this kind of like a reality in your life, and you want to make sure that you're doing it right and properly. Make sure you also check out my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. But that said, let's get into the next secret coming up in today's list. Secret number 4 is understanding the difference between funding and attention, okay? And why is this so freaking important? It's because I think marketing just really hasn't been described very well when it comes to, no one has put out good videos, in my opinion. No one has put out education that's been helpful for you. No one really has kind of broken down so you can understand how to run a marketing strategy and how to get funding for a campaign easily. And the name of the game is to understand the difference between funding and attention, because sometimes you have a lot of people's attention, right? You have the attention of so many people, you have so many eyeballs, you have so many views, right? And yet you aren't getting any funding. And it's still, people come to me and they're baffled, right? I know I only have like 30,000 subscribers or whatever it is now, right, on YouTube. And they're like, Sal, how do you actually do this for full time? And I've been doing this full time for many, many years. It's because I understand this idea of attention versus revenue, funding versus attention, right? The more you can understand how these two interlink in some ways and how to convert attention into funding or backers, people that are supporting you, then you're going to kind of unlock this power, if you will. So for example, I've had people who have had hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers. I've coached people, TikTok people who have had millions of followers, and they're struggling to convert those followers into backers of their crowdfunding campaign. So I share with them one unique trick they can actually do to do that, and all of a sudden their campaign skyrockets, right? So you have to understand how to actually convert attention, and you maybe already have attention or trying to get attention, right, when it comes to what you're doing with your marketing, how to convert that into funding, getting people to take action, getting people to back your campaign, getting people to actually want to be a part of your community. And it actually goes back to point number 1, which is understanding why people back crowdfunding campaigns. So if you will, the secret is that not all attention converts into funding, and inversely, you don't necessarily have a lot of people's attention in order to convert into funding as well. The good way to think about this is to actually picture people. So to think about, for example, if you look at my view count, right, on my videos, right? Some of my views have like hundreds of thousands of views. Some of my videos have like 1,000 views. Some of them have hundreds, right? If you actually take a second to imagine if I was talking to 100 people. Imagine if I was talking to 1,000 people. Imagine those actual individual people that are all tuning in to this message. How crazy is that? That's a ton of people. The more attention that you have is amazing, but also the more you can get people to take action in a way when it comes to your crowdfunding campaign, that's something that is so incredibly profound and something that I can teach you more in my different videos. It kind of goes beyond just this particular video, right? So you can always book a coaching call with me if you want to learn more about that. But the number one thing is to, again, understand how to transition attention into funding. And we do that by triggering different things when it comes to emotions, when it comes to logic, by getting them to build their investment as well in what it is we're doing. So when they back a campaign, it checks a lot of the reasons why they actually back crowdfunding campaigns in the first place. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. Number 5 is to do the freaking math. And my gosh, math was like the worst subject for me in school, man. I hated going to calculus. I hated things like trigonometry. I didn't see the point of it. I didn't see how it applied, right? I'm going to be an aerospace engineer, maybe, but I really did not like math, right? And I think that a lot of people also relate with this. However, when it comes to actually doing a campaign, it can be quite useful in understanding things, for example, metrics that go into your marketing, right? So for example, let's just say that you're doing what I teach, right? When it comes to building an audience. Well, if you were to actually quantify this, how much of that audience do you have in terms of your broadcasting ability versus how much of your audience do you have when it comes to their attention? How much of that audience do you have when it comes to them actually taking action on the things that you're asking them to do? You can actually quantify these different things using math, and you can calculate, okay, if I run a campaign, this is probably how many people are going to show up on day one if I announce it. Now, how cool would that be? Like back in the day, if you're running an event, you're trying to get people to show up, for example, you launch a new business or a new restaurant, something like that. They open a bunch of new restaurants here in Miami that I'm always so excited to go to, right? If you open a new restaurant, how cool would it be if you could actually predict, based on math, how many people are going to show up to that restaurant on launch day, right? So you can actually do that. You can reverse engineer this algorithm, this formula, if you will. You can actually figure out how many people are going to show up on your crowdfunding campaign page on day one. So this is a secret that many people will do who are hyper successful when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign. You can listen to episodes of my podcast to actually learn about this and understand this more. However, the more you actually break down the math, the easier it's going to be for you to have more confidence going into a campaign, to understand your marketing much better. And that goes through, more than this video can actually handle, but that's definitely a secret when it comes to crowdfunding. Number 6 in this list when it comes to crowdfunding secrets is that a lot of times people, when we're launching a campaign, and I'm so guilty of this as well, when I was first getting started in the industry back in 2012, you see so many of these campaigns being massively successful, raising 6 figures, 7 figures, right? And it's so exciting. And then you think about how could one person actually do this? It sounds so intimidating. It looks so scary, right? How could I ever even do that? How could I actually raise to this full potential that Sal was talking about in order to be able to run a campaign? Here's a little bit of that secret, right? Which is that you need to develop a crowdfunding stream team. So when I actually understood and fully, internalized this concept, I started to actually realize how all these different campaigns were getting tons and tons of funding when it comes to their crowdfunding campaign launch. By building a crowdfunding street team, and by that I mean people that are on your side, people that are helping with this project, people that are helping spread the word, people that are invested in your success, that are sharing your messages, etc. Maybe even you could call it your brand ambassador, right? The more you build a crowdfunding street team, the easier it gets. It goes back to the point that I was talking about before when it comes to PR and the media. That's an amplification of your message, right? So it's almost like you're not just speaking to a bunch of people, if you're speaking to 1,000 people, right? It's not just speaking to a bunch of people, you're also speaking with a microphone. So you can actually reach hundreds of thousands of people more easily, right? Or you're speaking into a YouTube video, right? You're reaching way more people than that, like millions of people over the course of a year. So it's an amplification of your message. So the reason why you want to develop a crowdfunding street team, and again, that's people that are ambassadors, people that are sharing your messages, people that are helping you out with your project. When it comes to my coaching students, trying to enroll other people, creative types in your idea, getting to do video work for you, getting to take photos of your product, etc. You want to build a team. You want to build a crowdfunding street team because that's how you're going to assemble an incredible, beautifully designed, amazing page, as well as something like a campaign that's doing lots and lots of different stuff. When it comes to, for example, at day one, you're doing this launch and someone else is helping you with this, you're putting out social media posts, and you're doing so much that one individual could just not handle or not do. So I talk a lot about this, obviously, the need to develop a team, and it makes it so much easier. And literally, no matter where you are, even if you think you're in the middle of nowhere, you have access to the internet, right? So you can develop a team around your project, and even if that's just a tight-knit team among your followers, and you can use that to amplify your message, you can use that to help when it comes to actually assembling this crowdfunding campaign and to develop a higher quality of a top-notch campaign page that many people will just dream of assembling because they don't know how. And number 7 in my list today is to think about when it comes to achieving a result. So if you want to achieve a result, if you want to optimize your performance, right? If you really want to have something show up in your life when it comes to either having a fully funded campaign or being able to get a product out there into the world or being able to even take action, right? When it comes to getting to this next step, maybe you even have just a product idea and you're trying to get to that next step, right? If you want to achieve better results, the name of the game is that you really need to emulate a strategy that works. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I was watching this really great documentary on Archimedes, right? And how he created the block and tackle system and how he actually created a vending machine back in the day. This really interesting documentary. And this is talking about how he was able to invent so many different applications, right? So you don't always have to invent something new. You can actually work on what your predecessors have already done. and you can just follow a strategy that works. You don't have to be an inventor always. I know you've probably invented a product, you've invented something new. It doesn't mean you have to invent a whole new marketing strategy. It doesn't mean you have to invent a whole new launch strategy, right? So obviously, this is something where you can actually just work with a blueprint, work with a template. You have to customize it a little bit, but the more you can emulate a strategy that works, it's not only gonna speed up so much of your time, but it's also kind of the gold standard when it comes to getting results in any area of your life. For example, you're trying to get better at golf, right? You're not gonna like learn and figure out how to do golf swings on your own. You're just gonna emulate what a pro says when it comes to doing golf swings. For example, if you're trying to learn golf, right? You're trying to learn golf, you're not just gonna like figure it out and try to like figure out the best swings. You're just gonna learn from a pro, and they're gonna tell you, okay, this is how the pros do it, right? If you're trying to learn how to play tennis, you're gonna learn about the different tennis strokes that are already figured out, right? Or if you're learning how to play chess, right? I love to play chess. You're gonna figure out chess strategy. You're gonna just learn from the best. You're gonna learn what other people have figured out, and instantly you start to get better and better and better very, very quickly. So rather than trying to figure out everything yourself, the more you can emulate strategies that already get the results that you want in your life and also with your project, it's gonna just kind of skyrocket. It's gonna help you reach your full potential much easier as a creator. So I hope you enjoyed this video, man. If you want to really explore that more, particularly that last point in emulating a strategy that works, go and check out the link down below when it comes to booking a one-on-one coaching call with me so we can kind of talk about this. I can introduce you to some of this cool stuff that I'm doing behind the scenes. I can kind of walk through and tailor this strategy to you so we can really understand what do you need to do to get funding, what do you need to do to make sure that this goes well in your favor, even if you've done a launch before. I have a lot of people who actually book calls with me who have done multiple successful campaigns, and they're like, Sal, I want to just take this to the next level, right? So go and book a one-on-one intensive coaching call with me if you want to learn more about this, and you also want to talk with this and really develop as well some homework and some action items. So you're not just kind of like buzzing around and trying to figure everything out, on your own, but you're actually working with a proven strategy in that way, step by step, so you can execute, you can take action, and you can get those results that you want. Thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up if you liked it, leave a comment down below showing some love, and I will see you next time.